So for everything on your list that you want in a man, as a woman, you should be able to understand what is the equivalent of that in a man's need, and that you are able to fulfill that. That's when your list becomes extremely effective. But if you just have a list of what you want, but you cannot mirror a man's need and the ability for you to deliver that for every item on that list, I don't know how effective that list is going to be. So for every item on your list, do you know what the equivalent of that is for a man's need? And are you able to meet it? So let me say it again. As a woman, if you're waiting on a mate and you have a list, keep your list. By all means. You could have 50 items on your list if you want to. But for every item on your list that you want, you need to know what a man's need is in that area. And you need to be able to fulfill that. There's no book on that. That came from the wisdom of LaToya through the Holy Spirit after living life. The book is in me. The book is in me. Pray that God brings it out. So ladies, you around here with a list. Keep your list. Keep your list. But you make sure you list out what that man needs. So if you say you want a man that's 6 feet, what is the equivalent of that for a man? And do I meet that in his need? You want a man who makes 6 figures? How does that correspond? What does that look like? This same need. So that's my need for finance, for security as a female. That's my need for security, right? What is the equivalent of a need for a man in that category? And will I meet that for that man? Better be at least 5'8". Okay, so that's your physical requirement, right? So what is number one on a man's physical requirement? And do you meet that need? You want your relationship with God to be so strong that he has to go through him to get to you. I love that. I love that. I love that. Okay, I love that. And I've heard that before. What does that mean? That he has to go through God to get to you. He has to go through God. Because your relationship with God is strong, so he has to go through God to get to you. Okay. That's a good thing. I want to know what that means practically. What does that look like?